All right, so let me ask you. There's a lot to consume there, so let me let me break it down. So, okay, so he came in. So Trevor Jackson comes from West Orange, if I'm not mistaken, for his senior year.
Yes.
For his senior year. Okay. So me and Street talked about this on Hayes Street, and we brought this up. And you said something like I said, if I got a young guy who's even or better than an older guy, I'm going with the young guy. I got 30 games or I got 10 games, you know. And I know for Coach Will, that was a hard decision. You know, this young man transfers into the school and he's looking to be the guy. Hey, I'll compete with the young man. But like you say, I'm an Ole Miss. Maybe miscalculated the competition, but it is what it is. And those are tough decisions. And again, now the narrative gets painted that, oh, this young guy took it. So now you could kill the confidence of Trevor Jackson, who fortunately for him, he goes on, I believe, did he walk on at Florida State? Is that correct?
Yeah, but he's a walk-on, but he's getting paid through NIL, so he's not paying for school. So he's on scholarship, but he is.
I mean, Florida State costs nothing but $10 a year to go to. I mean, it's Florida State. Yeah. $10 a year. I mean, they're basically giving away degrees over there. I'm just teasing.
Free stipends university. Right.
Yeah. Free stipend. Oh God. Anyway, free soup kitchen university. That's what it is. But no, I'm just teasing. But anyhow, that's interesting. And you keep talking about his talent. What makes the arm talent special? You say you got 40-something guys, professional dude. But what is it about this young man that makes his arm talent so special?
Yeah, when you have a fast twitch like he does, when the ball literally releases out of his hand in literally 0.3 seconds, I mean, that's the fastest release I've ever trained. I mean, ever. I mean, a lot of guys have some whip action. Some guys have longer releases. Some guys have like shot put releases, but he has the quickest twerk I've ever trained. I mean, that ball just flies out of his hand. And here's why it's so special. He's 165 pounds, and he could throw 63 yards on one step with no momentum, no running. We're talking flat-footed, and lets it go 63 yards. That is what I call freakish and generational talent. So when you put 20 more pounds on a kid at 165 pounds who's already throwing 63 yards, you put another 20 pounds in the next 2 years. I mean, the kid literally can be like Cameron Ward, where he's running to the right and throws across his body for 70 yards and a touchdown. Like the kid, the arm is endless. So when you're able to generate that much talent or that much force and that much twerk at 165 pounds, that's why it's the best arm talent I've ever trained, because all these other guys who are throwing just as far are 6'4", 220, 6'4", 200, bigger frames, bigger masses, right? But this kid is a 6'1", 165 pounds, and with the flick of a wrist, with no momentum, flat-footed, can throw 63 yards. And that was after a complete training where I made them throw deep ball, and that was my recent one with him, and he just let it go. There's plays on his tape that you can watch where he's jumping in the air, getting hit by two Wekiva defenders, flicked his wrist, the ball goes 55 yards in the air for a touchdown. Nobody's doing that. No way. Getting hit.
All right. All right. So because we're going to get into kind of the future and the competition part. And like I said, I would love for him to have been here to talk to him directly. But like I say, he basically his right-hand man. So we're gonna see what you got in regards to maybe some answer for some of these Cane fans. Like I said, I looked at his film. I haven't broken it down because he's a 26 player. I try to do it by the years. Yeah. Also, not saying him, it's just a general rule. So many people change their mind. Like, for example, Oklahoma, which was under the table commit, but they changed their mind. So I try to stay with the class and go forward there. Athletically, I saw his tape. He definitely can move around. What is his athletic ability? When I say athletic ability, I'm talking about his ability to run, move out the pocket. Is he the quote unquote dual threat? They gotten away with that word now. It's not dual threat quarterback in pro style. It's what is it called now?
Just robots and we call them robots and we call them athletes.
They got a term for it now. It escapes me. What do they call the quarterback? The pro style versus dual threat. But what do they call them now? They don't call them that anymore in the thing. Remember they had a pro style category and they had they don't have that anymore. It's something else.
Rivals and 24/7 still categorize them as PS, pro style, and then dual threat, DT.
Really? I thought it was something else but anyway, So what is his dual threat ability? How about that?
Yeah. So Darian is the number 4 ranked dual threat in the country in the 26 class, according to Rivals.com. And no, he shows just that. I mean, if you watch his tape, even from back from Fort Meade, he does things on the move really well. He glides. He's a very smooth player. But honestly, the best part about Darian is he likes to stay in the pocket. He doesn't actually like to move. He will sit as long as he can before he makes a decision whether he wants to escape or not. He feels more comfortable in the pocket, which they should. He plays the game so slow, and that's why I love watching Darian play, because it's to his tempo. And when you're in total control on the field as a quarterback, that's when you're dangerous, because now the game's not too fast for you. You're not panicking. You're calm. You're in your own space, and you're comfortable doing whatever you need to do because you're confident. And he's such a confident player in who he is, and he knows he can make any throw on the field when he has to. And he goes through his progressions, and Coach Williams has done a great job of teaching him the game of football from an IQ standpoint in the film room, on the board. So he understands progressions. He understands protections. So when you're having a kid like that as a sophomore with his arm talent, that's why you see the freakish things he can do on the field. And so with that being said, yes, he is a dual threat. He actually just clocked. They did 40s the other day at Jones. He ran a 4.5 40. And that's laser. They had a laser out there. So he's a 4.5 laser, which means hand time, he's probably a 4.4. So he's gliding. Like maybe, I mean, I wouldn't say 4.3. That's crazy speed. He's not a 4.3. But he's definitely high 4.4, 4.5. So
yeah, that's rolling. But that gets it done.
But you, I mean, there's a game. There's a highlight on his tape against Wekiva, and even in his commitment video that he posted, where he literally separates himself from the entire team from the 50-yard line. I mean, he breaks up the middle between two defenders that almost hit him. He literally squeezes right through him with his small frame, and he takes off, and he doesn't even get touched for a 55-yard touchdown. I mean, he completely separates from all the DBs, everybody. So, I mean, he's got that extra gear that we're talking about. So when he goes through gears as he runs, which is obviously something that you really want to see when you're talking about a dual threat guy who's not just so flat-footed that can make and extend plays because you're athletic, but you're actually pulling away from defenders, and he's got that in his ability to run. But again, the best thing about him is he considers himself a pocket passer that can run. Whereas obviously ranking and recruiting sites and 24/7 Rivals on 3 all have him listed as a dual threat because he shows the ability to run on his tape and what he can do in camps when he runs the 40 and stuff like that. So, but for him, yeah, he's freakishly athletic. He's long. He's rangy. Again, his dad's about 6'2", 6'3". His mom is tall. She's like 5'8", 5'9". So I know at some point he's going to probably be 6'2", 6'3". And again, if you add another 10, 12, 15 pounds to his frame, he's going to be the best quarterback in the country, and he might go to number 1 slot in the class.
Gotcha. So, quick question. We're talking about Superman here. What's his kryptonite then? What would you consider a weakness for? I'm just saying because everybody has it, right? So
no.
And it's good to discuss because you're looking at a guy. He has 2 years left of high school to develop or to correct or to enhance whatever may be lacking a little bit.
Yeah.
What would that be?
Well, first, let's start about gaining weight. He needs to start eating more. I think that's the number one thing. I think he likes his physique.
Not eating more, eating more of the right things. I tell him
proteins, your pastas, and Coach Will does a great job. He won't let him leave the weight room every day until he eats a complete meal in front of him in his office. I've seen it from myself, so I know he's getting the nutrition. Actually, I was at his house on commitment day, and Coach Will literally Ubered him protein to his house. So I know this is happening. He's already gained 15 pounds since last year. So he's 165. He was under 150 last year. So imagine that. So his body does show that it can gain weight. So that's exciting. But from a football standpoint, we're really focusing on understanding your why. So he knows he can make any throw on the field. So knowing your why and why you're throwing there, because sometimes last year he did throw about 6 picks last year. And sometimes he would fit it. He would try to force things because he knew he could wait and hold on, especially the deep ball, to where he would just let it go last minute, maybe getting hit when he's throwing, or taking unnecessary punishment, balls fumbling, right? So just learning to take care of the ball and understanding the why you're going to where you're going, and not just relying so big on your arm because you know you can fit into tight windows, but understanding, hey, should I make that decision? And understanding that in a split second, to maybe instead of forcing that dig or that bang eight, going to your check down. Knowing your why. Okay, I didn't like it there because it looked a little too cloudy. The middle linebacker, buzzed to the middle of the field. I'm not going to risk that throw, so I'm just going to go to my check down. Maybe knowing it's quarter, so the corner bails, so no one's in the flats right now. So you just little things like that, understanding the game and knowing your why. I think that's what we're focusing on. So a lot of film work, a lot of board work, which is what we've been doing in the offseason for Darian, especially when he's at Jones with Coach Will. So again, understanding that, because again, last year the turnovers that he had was either he's holding on to it too long because he knows he can fit it to any window late down the field, or throwing it middle of the field as far as he can, or even just being loose with the ball in the pocket, kind of careless because, again, he's holding it on too long. So he loves to, like I said, he loves to stand in the pocket. He does not care about the people around him. He will literally sit there. So knowing, hey, you don't take unnecessary shots, escape when you have to, throw the ball away, don't force it because you know you can make the throws. Just understand your why and let the game just come to you, because he's such a confident player.
Gotcha.